It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour. A cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street, which is just a couple of blocks down from Napoleon Avenue, where they have a fabulous happy hour here every day from 3 o'clock till 6 o'clock in the afternoon. They have a fabulous brunch on the weekends, which is technically Saturday and Sunday. And during happy hour, all drinks are half price. Did you know that, you guys?
I did not know that.
They're all half price, and all the bar food and bar fare here is half price as well. So come down to Wayfare anytime you like and check it out, or stick around for the next hour with me and my 3 fabulous guests I have here. Alexandra Scott is on my left. Hello, Alexandra.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. How are you? You have a guitar in your hands. I assume you play the guitar.
No, I just carry it around.
Well, it's a beautiful looking guitar. It's sort of blonde.
It is. I call it my Palomino guitar.
Your Palomino. What color is your hair naturally?
This color.
This is
my
your
natural
real
hair
hair color.
It's the first time I've had my natural hair color since I was 15.
Really?
I didn't know I had one.
What have you been up until now?
Everything.
Like what?
Everything.
What was the last one?
If you check
Can't
my
remember.
Instagram, you can find out.
Well, I can check your Instagram right now.
Check it right now.
Let's check it right now. See what color
I
your
can't,
hair was.
'cause I
Do you
don't have my
you
phone.
don't remember what your hair color
It
was?
might have been blonde or no, it was a dark brown, I think, and then before that, I think it was extremely red, like
fire
Crayola
engine
red. Yes.
Okay. Ginette Bone is here as well. Ginette, what color is your real hair?
This color?
This is your natural color?
Yeah.
What would you call that? Brown.
Henna.
Henna.
It's natural.
Okay. That is natural. I wouldn't even know. It looks natural.
It is natural.
Now, Linsey Lamba is here as well. Hey, Linsey.
Hi.
Now, that's not your natural hair color because that's all different.
This is not. I am not naturally this blonde, rosish.
That's not blonde either. That's,
It is blondish.
Is
It's
it
very
blonde?
lovely.
The salon name for it is rose gold. You can't really.
rose
The
gold.
red
I
is
would
kind of
say
washed out
it's-
now.
I would call it teak.
Teak.
That's also the name of my phone, Rose Gold.
Yeah,
Rose gold
yeah.
is your phone.
Rose gold is a hot color right now.
That's
my ring. My ring's rose gold.
Really?
So we
Oh,
do
I'm
have
writing
something
it down.
in Yes.
How weird.
Should we stop this right now?
Wait, Grant,
We
just
have
Yeah.
to
this
be
in
fair,
common.
what color is your hair?
This is my natural color, but
No, but what would you call
I
it?
call it brown, but everyone else says it's grey.
It's not brown.
I know. Everyone says it's grey, but I look in the mirror and I don't see grey. I think that's mental problems, though, right?
No, it's your blue eyes that do that.
That's what fucks it up?
Yeah.
I should be seeing.
Yeah.
What?
But you're delusional.
But why do I think my hair is not grey, though? I don't know what that is. It's weird.
Testosterone?
Is it a sort of an ego problem of some sort? Fear of aging? So, Linsey, last time I saw you I've met everybody. I haven't met you before, Alexandra.
I'm sorry.
But I know, but this is our first time, but I think we'll remember it. Next time I'll be able to say. But these
Usually
two
men
other
do.
women I've met, how many men are you talking about? You have a boyfriend, right?
Yes.
Why are you reluctant to admit that?
I'm not.
Okay. That was a very diffident kind of yes.
I had
She's
tequila.
her own woman.
Well, is that a bad question to ask you?
I was surprised that you led with boyfriend.
Ah, I heard you mention him. We were at the bar before the show, and you mentioned my boyfriend and I were drinking something.
We
So I
do
assumed-
sometimes drink things
So I
together.
assumed that would be
like
an okay.
coffee and water.
That
and-
would be an okay topic to.
No, it's
to
totally.
raise.
It's okay.
How long have you been dating each other? Is it new?
Is it me? Like,
Is it new?
no, we've been together for a while.
Okay. And is it working out?
I think so.
Wedding bells are in the air.
We are engaged.
You're engaged.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Very nice. When is the big day?
I have no idea.
And these other two women are both married, actually.
Yep.
So they can tell you a little bit about it.
I was married before, so I mean.
Oh, you
we
know
can-
a little bit
yes.
about it. Okay. And what happened to him?
Oh, he died.
No.
No, I'm totally fucking with you.
I didn't think you were serious, but would that have been better than being divorced?
Oh, that's a really weird question. I don't.
You must have thought of that. Everyone who's got divorced has
I
thought,
actually,
you
so
know,
I
if
was a
he
yoga
died-
teacher.
That
I
would
was a
be a
yoga
lot easier.
teacher
It would be so-
when
a
I
lot
got
easier.
my divorce, and one of my yoga students asked if I wanted to hire a hitman. One of my private yoga students. He was not
Wow.
a very nice guy, and she was like, "So do you want me to hook you up with a hitman?" And I was like, "We are literally in a yoga studio right now."
Wow.
Yeah.
But it sounds like she knew a guy. Like she had someone lined up.
She was like serious old connected New Orleans, and
This was your student?
yes.
Did she mention a price?
No, and I'm sure I couldn't have afforded it. I should not stay.
On a yoga teacher's salary, I guess you don't make that much teaching yoga, do you?
You know, a call back to last week.
Grayson, what
Last
happened?
divorce we heard about last week, the girl walked in with a shotgun.
She did. She caught her husband in bed with another woman, and she pointed a shotgun at them and contemplated whether it was worth going to jail
never
for these
worth
two.
it for the scumbags.
No.
Never worth it.
No, just scare them.
not that
Fire over their heads.
No. Lindsay votes against that as
I
well.
vote no, yeah.
Vote no. That's what she did. She didn't shoot them.
Lindsay didn't shoot them?
No, this our guest last week.
Okay, so she walked
Jennifer
in though.
Raven.
She walked in with the shotgun, but she
walked into the bedroom. She caught her husband in bed with another woman, and they had a shotgun in the bedroom, which she then picked up and aimed at both of them.
Was it part of their sex play, the shotgun?
I didn't
Or did they
actually find that out.
keep that
Do you
in the
know?
bedroom?
We should have asked.
He should have
Yeah.
probably considered that before he was going to cheat on her. That was in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good idea.
I mean, why was it
Don't
not in a
fuck
gun
somebody.
safe?
And she was. What's that?
Why was it not in a gun safe? I was raised by responsible gun owners, so this is the first thing
Oh, I
that comes
think
to
if
my
you
mind.
met her, if you go back and listen to that show from last week, you'll get the idea why they didn't have their gun on the gun safe.
Okay.
She talked about after the show, if she caught her current boyfriend cheating on her, how she would skin his face. So I don't
Oh my God.
Yeah, they,
No
don't- they didn't look like
responsibility.
a gun safe kind of people. Where were you growing up? They had a gun safe.
I grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, which
Ooh, it's in a sad state
Jesus,
right
that's in the
now.
news. This is very current.
Yeah.
yes, I am very topical, always.
Wow. So do you know where that all happened? Can you?
My mother
you've been
lived
there.
next to that park.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a weird week for me.
Yeah.
I probably should have another drink.
You should definitely have another drink.
I wasn't really going to drink at all, but now that you
Once you
mention
start talking about Charlottesville, well, April can get you a drink. No worry. What would you like? Another reposado?
it, okay.
Okay. Is there
Sure.
reposado tequila?
Yes, please.
Just a shot.
Yes, please. Thank you, April. No,
No,
tequila.
tequila.
I don't drink vodka. Thank you, April. Gracias.
So it's been pretty stressful for you just because you grew up there, though. What's happened?
Well, I grew up there, and I had friends who were out there, and friends whose children saw the wreckage of the car, and I mean, like friends who were in the Vice video.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
So you've got a first-hand report of
well,
what happened.
secondhand. I mean, it didn't happen to me, and I wouldn't.
Well,
I'm not
I
a
guess
big
that's
fan
called
of people
secondhand.
appropriating other people's tragedies, but it has been an upsetting week.
Goodness,
Yeah.
the raw footage that they showed is terrifying.
It's awful.
Yes, it's terrifying.
Well, the good news is that the President of the United States is all against it. He was-
Oh yes, that's very
Totally come out.
very reassuring.
Don't
Yeah.
get me started.
No, me neither.
Really? We're not talking about that?
No, we should fucking talk about it. It's
Well, it is pretty
horrible.
It is pretty amazing the President of the United States seems to be a Nazi sympathizer.
He doesn't
That-
seem to be. He is. Let's all be clear about that. Let's be
I
perfectly
think
clear
he's
about
just
that.
too
Thank
stupid.
you. He's not
take
too.
a side.
No, come on. This isn't funny, and it's since we brought it up.
Yes,
he
Lindsay, it's
knows
not.
he's not. He called them. He called the white supremacists us.
Did he say that?
Yes, he said,
He said
the
that's
the alt left people who attacked us.
Did he actually say that?
Yes, he did. Please
Wow.
read the transcript.
Okay. Grayson will pull that up for us 1 second. Should he actually said that he actually identified with himself with...
Come on, that's his base.
Well, there's a difference between being a right-wing person and being being a Nazi. Isn't there?
Not much.
I think if you asked a black person that, they might have a different answer.
But
We're
once
all
you-
white around this
Yeah, but
table.
once you get out on the street with a Nazi flag and you're doing...
If you're carrying a Nazi flag, you're probably a Nazi.
That's what I'm saying. So that's not the same thing as just a member of the Republican Party who
No, I
might
think,
have...
But I would really call on the Republican Party, who I'm prepared to concede that some of them probably are sensible. Why don't they stand up to this dictator? Why don't they stand up and do something?
Well,
I
this
mean,
has
that's
got
the
to be a
frustration.
sea change now, doesn't it?
I think
mean,
they're starting
Yeah.
to, Ginette. I do.
I mean, it's really hard.
I
When
hope.
you look at what's going on, I mean, the whole basis of this democracy is that there is a two-party system. Unfortunately, there should be a 3 or 4-party system, but it's just down to 2. But there's usually some mutual respect between them. But that seems to have been completely thrown out of the equation, and it's It's spineless. It's completely
Well,
spineless.
to be fair, though, I haven't heard any Republican congressmen or senators support Trump's
But
statements.
have you heard any of them damn
But
his
at least it's a
statements?
Lindsey
start.
Graham has, and I believe
Yes.
he's a Republican.
Yes. And I think Mitch McConnell is standing up.
No,
a
I'm
little
sorry.
bit.
Mitch McConnell has less spine than vertebrae. Marco Rubio. Yeah, he did.
We can't hear
We
you,
can't hear you,
Grayson.
Grayson. He was asking whether Marco Rubio had stood up against him, and the answer is yes.
Right, so there are a few Republican members of Congress coming out
Well, they should.
against the president, which
The
is
press conference yesterday was appalling.
well, scary.
It's been scary for a long time.
That was
This went
beyond.
down a dark hole when
Yeah,
we heard I was
well,
from
once we heard you
Charlottesville.
from Charlottesville, it changed everything.
Well, wait till you hear my other dark secrets. I was trying to be funny, but it's really not funny. I'm
Well-
sorry. I cope with humor, but there's nothing funny about this.
It's hard to
A friend
find
of
the
mine
humor,
was
but-
doused with lighter fluid and struck in the neck by a tiki torch on the lawn at the university on Friday night, and then he had a stroke on
Oh, my
Sunday
goodness.
after protesting Nazis all day on Saturday. He's 46.
Wow.
Go back a little bit there. He was doused with lighter fluid.
They threw lighter fluid on a girl in a wheelchair.
That's hardly accidental.
No, and then they surrounded them with torches. He was sitting, this guy's name is Tyler McGill. He was sitting on the steps watching the torch-lit procession go by, and he thought there are about 25 students protesting, and there are about 20, and maybe they won't kill 26 people, so he joined them. And he thought, I'm 40. I've had a life. These kids are 20. They haven't. So he
But he was-
stood with them. And they threw the Nazis threw lighter fluid on them and then surrounded them with torches. And I've had a very hard time watching people make jokes about the tiki torches all week, because if you're surrounded by people carrying torches and you're covered with lighter fluid, it doesn't really matter whether they're tiki torches or homemade
Man, that is
torches.
bizarre. Was this on the news at all, the story? Or do you just know?
It's on the news.
the
I
sto-
mean, especially since he had a stroke. And it's been on the news. And I should mention also that there's a GoFundMe for him now that
Okay.
he's having
What's his name?
Tyler McGill.
Tyler McGill. Okay.
He's a musician and a good guy. Yeah.
Let's go.
I feel like I'm
Do
dominating
you,
the conversation
do you have
here.
any
Well, we're
updates on
all-
how he's doing?
He posted to Facebook today and said, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And he
So-
apparently is
Always.
recognizing friends, so that's good.
Yeah.
Wow, well, that's a bit serious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dousing lighter fluid. What kind of person? What kind of person who's carrying a lighted torch walks around with lighter fluid? I guess.
A coward.
Yeah.
So they went there with the intention
Of
of
course.
throwing lighter fluid on people.
They're not carrying tiki torches just to be fun.
No. Right.
I mean, with all their
I thought it was a
arms
sort of
and-
the whole Nazi look, you know, the sort of fire.
Well, that comes.
Firelit.
That's pretty loaded too. Isn't it?
Good heavens! Well, that's interesting.
I know.
We've already violated Godwin's law in the first.
What is Godwin's law?
Do you not know this?
No. Do you guys
Somebody
know?
else
the
wanna
religion,
explain it?
politics.
No, it's it says that if a discussion on the internet once mentions Hitler or Nazis, the discussion is over. Although Godwin
well, this is-
Godwin himself was asked when people were debating whether these people were actual Nazis after Saturday, he said, "Yes, they're absolutely Nazis. You have my permission to call them Nazis, please."
Okay,
As
well,
if
who
we
is
need anyone's permission.
who is Godwin?
He's a man.
I got it.
Okay, Grayson's on it. All right.
This is Mike Godwin. He's
Mike.
an American attorney and an author. He has a law named after him called Godwin's Law. And it first came out on Wired in October 1994. So a month after I was born.
Oh my God, you baby!
And what else do we want to know about Godwin?
Oh, that's pretty good. So you were born in 1993, Grayson.
Are you even allowed to be in this bar?
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
Well, it's a restaurant as well, so we can get away with it.
Okay.
You can bring your kids as well. Lindsay, how long have you been married for?
I have been married for 3 years now, but together for 10.
Okay.
Whoa! Congratulations.
So that's good. So you were together for 7 years before you got married?
Yep.
What made you get married after all that time?
Well, we were just waiting. Like, we met when we were 21, so we were like, well, we're
Not old enough.
we don't want to get married. And because my husband was still in school forever, so we wanted to wait and get married after he was finished with school.
Right. What was he studying? He's a doctor.
Yeah, he was studying medicine. So we got married the summer between him ending med school and we got married, and 3 days later he moved down to New Orleans with just a suitcase and nothing else.
3 days after your wedding.
Yep.
That's unusual, isn't it?
He had to start his residency program down here.
Honeymoon.
So his honeymoon was spent here alone in New Orleans with his co-resident. He used to go around with his co-residents and say, "Thanks for being on my honeymoon with me, guys."
What did you do for your honeymoon? You were in Seattle?
We kind of did a pre-honeymoon.
What did you do there?
Oh, I was working still in Seattle. That's when I was still working at Microsoft. So I stayed in Seattle for a full year until I actually moved down here full time.
Right. What did you do at Microsoft? I've got this info. It's good. I've got this info in front of me that says you had something job that said you were a strategy consultant.
Yeah. So essentially at Microsoft, I was a consultant, and before that, I ran a tech accelerator for seed stage startups in Seattle. And basically, Microsoft hired us because they're kind of getting their butts kicked by Google and Apple, so they hired us to come in and teach them startup best practices for the enterprise. So essentially how startups build products.
Can you explain what that is? Essentially, startups is the people who have a good idea for a business and they're going to start it up.
Yeah. So it's really just about data-driven decision-making using customer development, so kind of lean startup methodologies.
Lean startup methodology means people with no money.
People with no money because they have no money, right? So they don't have all the money Microsoft and all these big companies have.
So Microsoft says to you, that's a pretty good idea you've got for a business. Microsoft's going to give you a whole bunch of money. Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly. It's basically teaching them how to develop products the same way. So instead of creating something, putting it out on the market and being like, hey, everybody, what do you think? You're going to actually go talk to your customers. You're going to go talk to your market. You're going to figure out what does the market need and then build that.
Okay. And how did you get involved in all that? How did you get to be the person who's doing that for Microsoft? That sounds like a big deal, doesn't
Maybe
it?
she's just really smart.
Is that what it is?
And cute.
I was, so before the Microsoft stuff.
Whoa. What happened? Was that somebody's phone?
It's Thomas's.
Oh, dear.
Is it okay?
Oh, my.
We're all live.
Didn't break. Wow. Everyone's
Hope I
had too
took
much.
you out of the hot seat right there.
Everyone's had too much to drink.
Quick, create a distraction.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
I should
So
have
how
done that
did
for the Charlottesville.
Did you
job.
get the job because you were super smart or because you're cute, like Ginette said?
that's so
Not
condescending.
me. I didn't say that.
I would like to hope.
You're the one who said
I'm
it, Ginette.
appreciative.
I would like to hope it was because of my skill set. Prior to that, I had been working.
Is it anything to do with intelligence, actually, though?
I hope so. I hope so.
It is.
Maybe more so.
Sometimes
just
you see
being-
people in these jobs and you wonder how they ever got a job like that.
Absolutely.
Because they're so fucking stupid.
I
but
think
you're not
that
one of
all
those
the time.
Right.
No, not you.
But that wasn't you. So it was actually because you were smart.
Yeah, and I had so. Before that, I was the director of a tech accelerator where I was part of putting together the curriculum and the program of how to teach these methodologies to our founders and the startups. And so my managing director knew I was moving down to New Orleans, and he was ready to kind of move on to something else. And so he had the relationship with the CEO of Microsoft and said, hey, we're going to go do this thing.
Had a relationship with the CEO
Yeah.
of Microsoft.
Not
you
in
you don't hear that.
professional.
We need to get
Well,
onto
any kind
that,
of relationship with. How do you meet the CEO of Microsoft?
You need to keep it in
I
your
think
pants.
through
Grant.
other-
Yeah, really? Who is the CEO of Microsoft? even?
Satya Nadella. But through other
I
professional
can't even
relationships.
say
She's
that.
super smart.
Is that a woman?
It's a man.
It's a man.
It's a man.
I can't even say that name. Who is it?
Satya Nadella.
Satya Nadella. That sounds like that stuff you buy in the supermarket.
Wait,
What is
what
that
stuff
called?
in the supermarket?
Nutella.
Oh, Nutella.
It's not
Satya
spelled like
Nutella,
that.
no.
Nutella. Different. How do you spell Nadella?
You're on a roll, Grant. You're on a roll.
Yeah.
N-E-E-L-L-A.
Okay. So,
Or N-A-D.
so this dude, so he's not the person who had a relationship with, you didn't know him. You knew someone who knew him.
No. I did not know him.
So you were a
But my
friend of a
boss did.
friend.
Yeah,
Okay.
friend of a friend. So I had been working previously with them, and it was a great opportunity, and it worked out. So yeah, that's what I did for the first year while my husband came down here for residency.
Well,
and-
if you're so smart at starting up businesses, why didn't you start one up?
Good question. Well, during that first year, that's when I did start Ariya Apothecary.
Oh, you did start a business.
Yeah, because I was flying back and forth 4 times a month, and my skin started, going to hell with bad eating, flying, stress, all that, you know. So that's when, in my free time, as kind of my relaxation, I started Ariya.
You can't see this podcast world, but she has very beautiful skin.
You can actually see it.
Oh, right.
It's like-
Video.
Yeah, you can see it on
I'm
Facebook
right next to
Live
the
right
camera.
now.
Can you turn my
Yeah.
headphones up
No,
now,
you do have
please?
beautiful
They're
skin.
not too low.
Oh, they're too
They're
low.
too low. I'm
You can
very-
do it yourself. You can just reach over here if you want. I think it's this
No,
one.
I
Is
would
that,
never do that.
Is that better?
Yes, thank
Is
you.
that better?
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
You do have gorgeous looking skin.
Thank you.
And that's all natural now with your, it's called Ariya Apothecary.
Yes.
A-R-I-Y-A.
Ariya.
See, the world is full of two kinds of different people, isn't it? One kind of person would just like have bad skin and they would, try and adjust their diet maybe or go to a doctor or something. You actually came up, you're the other type who came up with a whole
Solution.
idea for a range of skin products. How did you even do that?
Well, I think
She's super smart.
I was just going to say, did you test it out on people first?
I did.
Did you
I
ask?
did. So all my other friends who are also equally stressed out, eating
Yeah.
terribly, drinking, whenever they'd complain about their skin, I'm like, oh, I'll mix you up something. And so that's kind of
But
how
how
I
did you
started.
know any of this stuff? How did you know what to mix even?
So my parents are from the Fiji Islands. I think we talked about this because
Yes,
it's
the
close
last
to
time
New
I
Zealand.
spoke to you,
Yeah.
yes.
So my parents are from the Fiji Islands, and it's funny because they were green before it was cool to be green. And so growing up, my mom would put like coconut oil, almond. She'd use all these essential oils. And me being like the American brat, I'm like, no, I want like that fake fuchsia flavored thing from Bath and Body Works. I didn't want the
Glade.
natural stuff. Yeah. So when I started spending a lot of money on these different skincare products and none of them were working, I was like, well, maybe I'll go back. I've been just kind of scouring the internet and do something natural. So I started just using a lot of the like coconut oil and that kind of stuff and just basically experimenting on myself and my friends.
So you had bad skin, you had acne or something?
Yep.
And then you thought, okay, I'll just mix up coconut oil and some other crap like at random,
Well,
and I'll put it on my own skin.
No, I did a little bit more research. I researched like the different oils and which ones helped with various skin problems.
So what did you come up with?
So I came up with the main product that I have right now is my lavender serum, and so that just has it's kind of like a all-in-one product that anyone can use. It smells heavenly because it's lavender.
Did you bring any here?
I actually did not bring any.
You don't?
I don't
Aw.
know what I was thinking, you guys. I'm sorry. I'll
That's okay, because I'm going to be your new best friend.
It's called lavender serum.
Yep. And
Not a particularly attractive sounding name, though.
well,
If you were a lady, you
That
would
would
feel
be.
differently.
The word serum would be okay with you, Alexandra? No worries.
You would ignore it because of the word lavender.
Lavender. Okay.
once you
It's
smell it, it's
Right.
I use it on my husband. He loves it
In
now.
what
He
sense?
started using it.
In what sense do you use it on your husband? On his face?
So on his face,
Okay.
yes.
So is he graduated now? Where does he practice?
He is graduated. He has not started working yet. He's currently studying for his boards, but he will start working next month at Ochsner.
I want to hear more about you, though.
What would you like to know?
Not to.
So Ochsner is how it's pronounced.
I don't know.
What
That's
have you
how
been-
I say it.
what
I
have
might
you
be
been
saying
I
it
have no
wrong.
idea. I've
How do you
been
say
living
it?
here for a long time.
Ochsner.
Ochsner.
You say
Ochsner.
Ochsner.
I don't know. Maybe I never say it.
I say Ochsner, and I've been
Ochsner.
here 35 years.
Nobody is
Oh, well, you
from
win.
here, though.
I've heard
None of us
both.
are from here. If
I
you're
did
from
not
here,
emerge from a vagina here.
that's a bad problem.
It is a bad
Because
Do we
as
have
long
a
as
local?
you- unless
Do we
you're
have a
bo-
local in the room that can
Thomas.
confirm?
Thomas was
Confirm what?
born and raised. And your daughter? No, Thomas is not from here. Nobody.
Can you ask your
April.
daughter how she says Ochsner?
I think
Allison's from here.
Allison is from Lafayette.
Look,
April.
that's close
April, are
enough
you
to count.
born in New Orleans?
I was born here, yes.
Okay.
How
where-
do you say Ochsner?
Ochsner.
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 Oh, okay.
See,
Ochsner.
there's a particular local.
Ochsner.
And this must be fascinating to the people of the world who are listening.
Well, it's there's only 3 of them listening. Only one Andrew's mom listens when he's on the show.
Aw.
He's not
Hi,
on the
Mrs.
show today.
Duhan.
Andrew's in Nashville.
I bet
think,
she
today.
listens loyally. Mrs. Duhan is
She might
nice.
still listening anyway. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so without her, there's only 2 people listening, and one of them is April.
When you
Hi,
say
April.
When you say it with a C, then you know how to spell it properly.
Oh,
Well, I
what
am
is
a
she-
very good speller,
You're a
much like
great
Grayson.
speller. What did
Thank
you say? How did you pronounce it?
Librocubicularist.
Well, that's nice. What does that mean?
Liking to read in bed.
Liking to read in bed. Say
There's
it
a
again.
word for that?
Yes.
What is it?
And you can also make it a noun, librocubicularist.
Can you actually spell that? Because we might call the show that.
Libro. Do you want the noun or the adjectival form?
Well, we could do both. Libro,
I can't spell
Libro.
both. I've had 2 shots of tequila.
Okay, we'll spell one. Libro. Librocubic. I need to write it out. I'm sorry. You write it. This is a great word for
That's
us.
a new word,
CUB.
yes.
Yeah, we've got
Oh,
Welsh
you
there. We've got
that. That's
Natalia.
great. Yeah.
Natalia is the CEO of
LIB. There's too much going on.
LIBR. Do you want another drink?
No.
Lindsay?
Sure.
You two guys want a drink?
Okay.
April will hook you up. Oh, look at this handwriting. I can't read that.
Yes, you can.
That
It's
hand-
lovely handwriting.
It is. It's very sort of poetic,
Thank
flowery
you.
looking, but it's hard to read. Librocubicularist.
I can read my own handwriting to you. Here.
Oh, man.
Librocubicularist. If you want to add the adjectival form, just add an IC to the end.
Okay.
Clear as
I'll
mud.
put brackets IC.
This is why I don't drink, you guys.
Librocubicularistic. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce it. Hey,
Not in
Alexandra.
Websters. Fun fact.
It's not even in Websters.
It's on yourdictionary.com though.
It is a real word.
It's
You
not
look-
in Websters though. Are you sure about Grayson is not that
Webster's
reliable?
isn't.
How do you know that
Complete.
Grayson is reliable?
He's not.
No.
He's not.
Oxford
We just
English
go along.
Dictionary. Oxford English
Well, you're
Dictionary.
British.
Yes.
Ginette, what part of Britain are you from? I happen to know that actually. That's one of the things
Born
I
in
know
the
about.
southeast, raised in the northwest.
Guildford.
Yeah.
Where's
Guildford.
Guildford?
It's just southwest of London.
Southwest of London?
Yes.
Okay.
But I was moved when I was 6 months old. They took me up to near Liverpool.
Who's they?
The parents.
Oh, your parents who weren't
Yeah.
raised by wolves or kidnapped or anything. Your parents moved to.
I felt like I was.
You did?
Yeah, it seemed like it. But
Why
yeah.
is that?
Because there is. It's so funny because it's only like a 3-hour drive from Guildford up to
I wouldn't- I
Manchester,
wouldn't
but
know.
you just feel like you're in another world up there.
What's the difference?
They didn't like the Southerners.
But you were 6 months old, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but I felt the prejudice as I grew up over the years.
What are you talking about? You grew up from 6 months. Did anyone even know that you weren't from there?
Yeah, they did. I mean, because they knew my parents weren't, So it
Oh,
was
boy, that's horrible.
Yeah, but I don't think it's anything like what went on here. There wasn't a civil war about it. There was one years ago, like hundreds of years ago.
Well, there
but
was a
not
civil
here.
war. That's why there's the United States of America.
Yeah.
There was a civil war here.
Yes.
Yes. But there wasn't a civil war in Britain, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, there was,
But-
but centuries ago. That's
okay.
why we.
Who were they fighting? The North or something?
No, they were fighting. It was between the East and the West.
In Britain?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Did you guys know
Well,
that?
in the North and the South and
Alexandra
all
is
kinds of
pretty
things.
smart. She knew that. Did you,
Yeah.
Lindsay? You're the smartest
Yeah,
person
I know.
here.
I did not know.
Didn't know that. Okay. All right.
Not up on
I'd
my
never
list.
heard that
Somewhat
either.
It's somewhat
were they
irrelevant when
called?
you think of the white roses and the red roses.
The War of the Roses, great.
Yeah, the
Oh, that
War
was
of
the War of the Roses.
Roses.
That's
yeah.
where Grayson comes in. isn't
Yeah,
it?
War of the Roses.
Okay. And that's what that was about. There was a civil war in Britain.
Well, and then it carried on because they
What were
didn't
they
want
fighting about?
Well, one of them, there's been several, but one of them was Oliver Cromwell fighting against the kings and queens, but we still
I
got
thought the War of the Roses happened against the French. Or am
No.
I-
It was internal. It was internal. There were other wars against the frogs. Yeah.
Against the frogs. I don't think you can call them frogs. Are you allowed
I
to say
can
that?
because we embrace
Because you're
them
British.
now, Yes.
Okay. So the
They
war.
call us limeys. They call us
Right.
worse things.
What are the French
Limey
call?
is worse than frog?
I don't think so.
But limey's an English word. What's the French word for a Brit?
Bretagne.
Yeah.
Wait, I rolled the R. That was
Well,
Spanish.
but what's the derogatory word for a
Probably
British Brit?
con.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow, that sounds good.
No, it's not so good.
Not,
not
so
so
good.
good.
Anyway, so you grew up there, and with everyone hating you in this town.
No, they didn't hate me. We were just ostracized. So we moved back down to the southeast when I was young,
Ostracized.
and then I went to college in London, and then I came to New Orleans. So I've been here for a long time, since before some of you guys were born.
Probably before
For Grayson,
was
definitely.
born. Yes. How long have you been here, Jeanette? Like 20 odd years?
35 years.
Oh, 35.
35. No, it's 2017.
Yep.
37 years.
37 years.
Mazel tov.
That's a long time.
Thank you. But I'm
That's
still
kind
not
of
a New Orleanian. I cannot
Yes,
claim
you
to that.
are.
I
You
thi-
are a New
I'm
Orleanian.
No, I
totally
don't think so.
involved and embrace it, but no, you
Unless
can't
you were
beat
born
that.
here.
Yeah.
I think that's bullshit. You are a New Orleanian. I'm a New Orleanian. I've been here for 17 years. I'm
Doesn't
not
matter.
a native New Orleanian.
Not a native, yes.
There's a difference.
You'll never be a New Orleanian unless you happen to
I
have
am
been
a New
born
Orleanian.
here.
I was sworn
sorry.
in by James Fitzmaurice at
okay.
a swearing-in ceremony.
Well,
at the
that's
theater
actually
at
pretty legit.
St.
Because
Claude,
he's a
but also-
playwright, after all. So
But I was a New
That makes
Orleanian
it real.
before that. I mean,
I think
I'm
unless
sorry,
you're born here, you just don't qualify. Did
I
you go to
know.
high school here?
Yeah,
but
I'm
Oh,
sorry
they're
about where
definitely
you
out.
went to high
I
school.
survived
here.
Definitely
Katrina.
out, right.
Please don't tell me I don't qualify for.
I don't
New
think anyone really
Orleanianhood.
makes it here unless you were really born. You have to
Yeah.
be born, even if you didn't grow up here, even if you were like your parents and you left after you were 6 months,
Right.
you can still say you were born here.
I was born in Guildford.
Just tell people you were born here.
I wasn't born here.
Well,
I was
just
born
say
in
you were.
Virginia. But
Don't worry about that. Just say you were born here. You're a writer, aren't you? Aren't you involved in fiction?
Yes, but I have
Well,
no wish to say I was born other.
I'm just
otherwhere than
advising you, if
Virginia.
you want to tell people you're a New Orleanian, you just have to tell them you were born
I'm a
here.
New Orleanian by choice
it.
and a Virginian
Yes.
by birth.
Well, I would say we were reborn here.
Ah, that's a nice way of putting
Reborn
it.
here as, complete and utter New Orleans supporters.
Well, I think
Okay.
some
Whatever.
people are born here
All
and
right.
some people are brought here. I
Yeah.
don't know about the rest of you, but I felt all of my life a tugging towards this place and
Your whole
knew-
life, even
Oh,
before
yeah.
you knew what it was?
Since I was a teen, I knew what it was. I read about it. I was fascinated by it. I came to visit right before I graduated from college and wanted to move and was just a little
Well,
too
you
chicken.
have music in your blood. That would be.
But I don't think it's
Pulling
just
you
that.
down.
I think they're the people who are supposed to come. I think New Orleans is going to get you one way or another.
Yes.
I think New Orleans has a power greater than any of us, and which is my hope about gentrification, really, that I think that whatever we do to the city still remains its own force.
Do you have a plan to defeat the effects of gentrification?
No, I'm a musician. I don't
What does
have
that
a...
mean?
I
thought
write
you've got time
songs.
to think about it.
Have I?
Don't you have time to think about how we could defeat gentrification? I thought you were going to come up with something
I
then.
think you should ask Linsey those questions.
Do you have any?
I have zero
She worked in an echo chamber or a
Yeah,
tech
and-
startup or something.
And in Seattle for Microsoft.
Yes, I mean,
So how did you quit Microsoft? Did you just tell them I'm leaving and I'm moving to New Orleans?
Well, I was already in New Orleans, technically.
All right, so you were
actually.
still working for them while you were
Sorry.
here. That's all right.
Yeah, the first year that I lived here, I was still working
Going
for them.
back
I
and
signed
forward.
a one-year contract, so yeah.
Did
then
you
it
think of
was
suing Microsoft for your bad skin?
I should have thought about that.
Seeing they caused it?
Yeah, I should have.
Just a thought, but you didn't do that. So how's Ariya?
No.
Ariya, it's spelled Ariya, right?
Yep.
Ariya Apothecary. How's it going? How's business?
It's been going well. Because I've always kind of had it as the side hustle and a full-time job, I just haven't had as much time to work on it. I've been doing some stuff locally. I participated in the New Orleans Entrepreneur Week. and
How'd
made
that go? Did anyone buy it?
It was no, it wasn't selling it there.
Oh, I thought you
had
had,
like
like,
free samples, but you
pitch.
don't sell it. No, I didn't do any of the pitches. I did one of their. You can get a booth for a day where a bunch of other entrepreneurs just kind of have little tables. They talk about what they're doing, and that was really great just to make connections with other, business owners, people at magazine, all that. And so really right now, I'm still trying to just kind of figure out the best way to scale it because it is a small batch product.
You have to
and
make
it's
it all.
handmade.
Right.
How do you scale that to be able to fulfill, a shop on magazine? and
Well,
all
I'll tell you
that?
what, if anybody would know the answer to that, it should be you.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's
But
the
you
answer?
do-
But
How
my
do
background
you?
is in tech, so if it was a tech startup,
Ah.
I would know what to do. I always thought if I'm going to start a company, it's going to be in tech, not skincare. So this is completely
wait a
random.
minute. You do it all by hand yourself? Mm-hmm. The product?
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
In the kitchen?
That's incredible.
Yep, yeah.
You do it in your kitchen
I
with
have, I
your-
have a little table in my office, but yeah.
Well, what do you have, do you have to heat stuff up on like a little
yeah.
gas
So
stove?
I do some of it in the kitchen, but
A Bunsen burner?
yeah,
Really?
not a
love
Bunsen burner,
Bunsen
but just a
burners.
stove. Yeah, I wish it was as cool as that.
So you have a little stove and you mix up all of the,
Yep.
not olive oil, coconut oil,
Yep, and melt
and
it all
lavender,
down, and yep.
tincture of lavender of some sort. Where
Yep.
do you buy the stuff from?
I buy it from different sources. There's actually one that's a new one I want to check out. I'm actually going there later on tonight called Linsey Apothecary that's here in Mid-City. I
they're
haven't
so
been
good.
there yet, but they do different classes.
Sorry, they're
Yeah,
good.
you've been there, yeah. So I want to check them out and try to get some more local. But right now, there's a couple websites online that my mom kind of actually told me about.
So she's still in Fiji.
Nope, she
She's
is here. Yep, she lives in Vancouver, Washington. So it's a kind of a suburb of Portland, Oregon.
Okay. So she's from Fiji, though. She's
She is
Fijian.
from Fiji. Yep.
How do you say the word Fiji?
Fiji?
Fiji.
How do you say it?
Fiji.
Fiji.
I don't say it that bad, but
Fuji.
I say the New Zealand way, which is Fiji.
Fiji.
But people in the United States say Fiji, but I thought you were actually sort of Fijian. You might actually know how it's really pronounced.
I guess I'm.
Do you know how it's really pronounced? We don't know that.
My parents say
You
Fiji.
say Fiji.
I
Yeah.
think that just means you're not a Kiwi. You're not from
Right. Well, just because Fiji is part of
I'm
like
real
part of New
Kiwi.
Zealand. It's a
They're,
New Zealand
they're
protectorate.
very close.
Yeah.
Yes. My mom actually lived in
You
Auckland
can,
for a year.
yeah, you can live in New Zealand if you're a Fijian. You can have, and vice
Yep.
versa.
Fudge.
Oh yeah.
Can you play rugby?
Yes, they have a great rugby
Oh, I
team and
know.
great rugby players
They
in
keep
Fiji.
thrashing England. So.
The Fijian team,
No,
the Kiwi team,
The
the All
Kiwi
Blacks.
teams,
But the
yeah.
Fijians are incredible warriors, rugby players. Those guys,
that's
aren't
pretty
they?
amazing.
I think
My
so.
God,
I don't
they're
keep up on the rugby,
fierce.
but I'm.
Hey, don't put that guitar down, Alexandra.
no.
We're going to make you play a song right now. What
Right
do you
now?
think, you guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's hear it.
Now is the hour.
Now. Okay, why?
I don't know, just the feeling. What do you think? Otherwise, I get yelled at if I don't. I should have made you play in the first 15 minutes.
Oops.
That's the plan, but I didn't.
Godwin's Law.
Godwin.
What kind of song do you want to hear?
Well, what do you
Do you
think?
compose your own?
I do. Well, I mean, I play other people's songs as well, but yes.
Can
What-
you play Southern Nights by Alan Toussaint?
I wish.
That is
Oh,
fine.
I
Did
was
he
just
write
thinking
that?
that.
What about?
Southern Nights. I can sing it.
What about?
No,
I
but
like
then
that
do
song.
one of
I
your
guess
own.
everybody wants you to play that song. Though. What is it called? About the guy from the gas station lover or whatever it's
Oh
called.
yeah, but I need a piano for that. That's
Oh,
a piano
really?
song.
Oh, okay.
That is like my hit.
That's
Yeah.
one of
What do you
yours?
use?
That's
Oh,
a
how
great
fabulous.
Do you know that
song.
song?
Do you know-
No, that's fabulous.
Oh,
that's
that's a
really
great song.
Yes.
I'm shocked and
Robert,
amazed.
yes.
Thank you.
That's fabulous.
Okay, so what are you thinking of playing? Do you have a new record out or recently or anything?
I have a new record, like half finished.
Okay.
So no.
Do you need us to help come up with a name for it? Because
Yes.
we're pretty good at that.
Yes. Can you guys please come up with a
Yes.
name for my unheard,
Yes,
half-finished
we
new
can.
record?
Play
What-
a song from it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll
First,
see.
we need to hear a song
Yeah.
though, because we have no idea what.
Well, I think it
we're
would be
something to
better
work
if
off
you
of.
came up with a name and then heard a song and then came up with another name. Thomas agrees with me.
Oh, that's
Thomas,
a good
our sound
idea.
man.
Come up with a name for your album
Yes.
without knowing
and
anything
then come
about
up with
it.
another name afterwards.
Okay. And can
Just
you,
round table.
can
you
give
first,
us,
Grant.
Well, I'll give you the same name I gave to Andrew for his album,
No,
which
that's not fair.
he rejected it out of
I don't
hand.
want Andrew's secondhand.
No, that's not. He rejected it, so he didn't like
Nope,
it.
I don't
What
want
was it?
Andrew's.
I've got to come up with something else. Okay, I think Lavender Serum.
Okay, excellent.
Super
Even though
creative.
I've
Super creative.
stolen your.
Um,
I'm going to write these down for you.
Thank you.
I'll put them on this piece of paper. On your page. Here it is.
I think
have a page.
Alexandra's Magic.
That is totally lame. You've got to do
That
better.
sounds like an
That's
Olivia
terrible.
Newton-John record. I love it.
Do you like that? Alexandra's Magic.
I was being nice, but
No, come on, you can reject it out of hand if you're never going to
I'm
use
sitting
it.
right across from her.
I'm sitting next to her. She could hit me.
Well,
But
I
you
could
can't.
too.
You just can't go along with that. That's,
I don't mind.
You can do better. You can do
okay,
better
I'll
than
think
that, Ginette.
better. We'll wait for Linsey and
Okay,
I'll
we'll
try
get
and
Linsey.
think
You
of
can come
something
back to you. Okay.
more poetic.
Fujian.
Look, she's so
Something
smart.
Fiji.
no, I'm trying to think of what genre?
I'm not going to tell you
You
until
don't-
after
I
you say
know
something.
nothing.
It could
Okay.
be gangster rap for all you know.
Exactly.
Probably not. I am really
You
white.
look like you could be into some
Yeah.
gangster rap.
Or
for
like
sure.
serious metal.
Yeah, I could believe that actually. So
I was thinking some play off of like Virginia, but New Orleans, like trying to like make some kind of blend, but I couldn't
Orleans.
think of anything. What was that?
New Orleans is for lovers.
Exactly. Or New Orleans is for livers. I saw that on a
Oh,
T-shirt
that's
the
a
other
good
day.
one.
That's very good.
Well, have you got one? So are you going to settle on something?
New Orleans is for livers.
I like it.
New
Okay.
Orleans is for livers. That is funny.
I wish I had a funny song. I feel like I have a very obscene song, but I don't think I can play that.
You can play anything you want, actually. That's fine. Jeanette hasn't come up with a title for you yet, but
Naughty
No, she did.
Alexandra.
Ooh, wow.
What?
This is excellent.
Naughty Alexandra.
no, that's better. I like that.
I like that.
Naughty Alexandra.
All right,
It's
I'm looking
very
at my
British.
song
Or
list.
Alexandra's Naughties.
That is what I call my underwear drawer. Just kidding.
Okay, so what are you thinking of playing?
I'm going to play a song from the record called My Shitty Little Heart because I can swear as much as I want here, right?
Yes, you certainly can. We encourage
I
it.
love it. Do you know, you've had Alex McMurray on here, right?
Yes.
So this is a song that I didn't write with Alex McMurray, but
Okay.
sort of. We were, there's a little story behind it, which I'm going to tell. Do you know how Susan Cowsill does her Covered in Vinyl nights? We were doing one, and I think it was Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and
This is a gig where Susan Cowsill gets a bunch of people
yes,
and they
and
play
we
the
all
whole album right
do
through.
the entire album.
Right.
And I had already done my song, and I was standing next to Alex Rawls, the music writer, and Alex McMurray was on stage. And actually, Alexis Marceau from Sweet Crude and Alexis and the Samurai was also there. It was just a wealth of Alexes that night. And Alex McMurray was on stage and said something about the effect of Elton John's songs on his shitty little heart. And I looked at Alex McMurray and said, I'm totally going home and I'm going to use that. And so I went home and I wrote this song, and then I sent it to Alex McMurray the next day, and I was like, do you want a credit? And he was like, no, but you have a lovely way with the word shitty. So,
Okay, on that note.
on this note. When the night is still and the wind whistles through the pines, when you've had your fill, drinking whiskey, drinking blood, drinking wine, my shitty little heart, my shitty little heart, it's dark and it's bitter and it's twisted and it's sweet. Oh, I told you from the start about my shitty little heart, so don't you come crying back to me. Making every night just a little bit longer than the day. Everything you said, it just echoes in my head and won't go away. My shitty little heart, my shitty little heart, it's dark and it's bitter and it's twisted and it's sweet. Oh, I told you from the start about my shitty little heart, so don't you come crying back to me. Hold on, you know who's the lucky one, waving in the wind and walking free. You can go drink all night long, and I can sit and sing my song and salt my wounds with perfect memory. When the night is still and the wind whistles through the pines, do you remember then how it felt when it used to feel so fine? My shitty little heart, my shitty little heart, it's dark and it's bitter and it's twisted and it's sweet. Oh, I told you from the start about my shitty little heart, so don't you come crying back, don't you come crying back, don't you come crying back to me.
Oh, yes. Very nice, Alexandra Scott.
Thanks, guys.
My shitty little heart off the new album called
Beautiful voice.
Thanks.
Lavender Serum.
Lavender serum, possible.
Or
not
New
the
Orleans
winner.
is for livers,
That is
or
not the
Naughty
winner.
Alexandra.
But are we, or we could go around again now that you've heard it.
Now that we've heard it.
rename it. Also, Grayson and Thomas have been really remarkably silent on the titling issue. Come on, Grayson.
Yeah,
I know
we
you're.
need you guys to
cooking
Grayson's
Way
probably
something
got some
here.
good ideas. This is Grayson's last day on the job.
What are you
He's-
firing him?
he's
Is
mo-
this,
he-
don't
firing
tell
him.
him you're firing him right
He's
before he
moving to
titles
Los
my record.
Angeles, but he could still work on the show from LA, actually.
Yeah, so
So it might not
power
be.
of technology. It's crazy.
Power of Technology is not a good name for my record.
That is,
Damn it. All right.
that
well,
is pretty good. How many songs on a record these days?
I think it really depends. My last record had 18, which was almost universally agreed to be too many.
Too many.
Yeah,
There could have been 2 records.
I know.
What about calling it Wayfare?
Oh,
Like the
that's
name of
quite
the
nice.
bar.
Maybe they would sponsor
And
it.
we'll get it sponsored, exactly.
Or
Brought
I
to
could
you
call
by
it Google.
Microsoft. We know the guy who runs Microsoft now, Nutella.
That's Bing. It's Bing.
Ooh, I
It's
could call it
Microsoft.
Nutella.
Bing. Well, it's
Or something,
Bing
you
is
know, all the
Microsoft's.
Alexes that came together in
Yeah.
the making of it.
that was just that one song,
The
though.
Alex effect.
I know, but
The Alex effect. That's a
the
good one.
Alex effect.
The
there
Alex
you go.
effect. I like that.
That's a good one.
Sure, I have some
Do-
ex-boyfriends who already talk about that.
So was that song inspired by any of these ex-boyfriends? Or you just...
That was my follow-up question, actually.
Yes.
Yes is the answer.
Yes is the answer.
Who were you Oh, you don't, we don't want to know who it was.
No, you don't.
It's a good thing that you can do that, though. You can take revenge on people by writing
It's
a
not
song
revenge. It's just
about... Well, whatever the word
processing
is.
it.
Processing
Remember,
it.
this is the New Orleans Taylor Swift.
Yes,
Message behind the words.
AKA
Is that a-
Taylor Swift over here.
Is that a compliment to be called likened to Taylor Swift in this business?
I would say so, yes.
It is?
She's very successful.
She's very successful.
Well, okay, she's successful. So is Britney Spears.
She's
You
a
wouldn't
good-
want to be called the New Orleans Britney Spears,
would.
would you?
Well, she's a good songwriter.
Speak for yourself. Drake.
Britney is a good songwriter.
No.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift is.
She sure is.
I'm
She's
incredibly
a tall
impressed
woman,
by.
a tall, beautiful woman.
Is she
true.
tall? I didn't even
She's
know
quite
she
She
tall.
is tall.
You're tall, Ginette.
I'm very tall,
How
so I
tall are you?
appreciate. I've shrunk because I'm old.
Is that
but
right?
I
You're
was,
that old?
Yeah, I was close to 6 foot.
You're taller than 6 foot.
Nuh-uh.
you
All
serious?
men think that.
You
No.
look like about 6'3", I would have said.
Yeah, of course.
All men think
you're
that
not.
if a woman's like a
Is that
centimeter
right?
taller
Yes.
than they
Is
are.
that right?
I've
Is
gotta
that
be
something
over
like-
I'm
6 foot.
5'10", and the number of times
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you're 6'2", you
Yeah.
gawking giant."
Well, what are you?
Taylor
You're
Swift's
5'10".
I'm 5'10",
No,
How-
you get this from men.
interesting.
but I'm
they're
like Brienne of Tarth in
they're
their
like-
minds.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
You look-
how
you
tall
look-
are you? And you say, well, I'm 5 foot. I was 5'11" and a half, measured by the U.S. Immigration Service or whatever.
Well, that
I say I'm
sounds-
6 foot, and they're like, you can't be 6 foot. I'm 6 foot, and you're 2 inches taller than me. And I
Oh
think,
my God,
well,
yes.
yes. And it would always be, I'm 5'10". You cannot be 5'10" because I'm 6 foot, and you're taller than me.
The
And it
number
would
of
just-
guys I've dated who've claimed to be 5'10" while being like visibly 2 inches shorter
Yeah.
than I am, and I'm just like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're not.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
to
really
me.
matter,
it's not
but
my
like
problem.
the fact that you're lying about it like consistently is starting to be a problem.
But that's been a
Taylor
recurrent
Swift is
pattern in
5'10".
your life, though.
I'm
Is that what
really
you're saying?
tall.
If you're tall, yes.
5'10". That's average, isn't it? Or is that
No,
tall for a woman?
that's
okay,
quite tall.
Okay. What are you, Lindsay? Do you even know how tall you are?
I'm 5'5".
5'5".
That's
Yeah.
probably
That might be
that's
more
a
average.
good
I'm a
height.
lot shorter.
That
than
would be
both
the
of
height
you.
that tall guys
Okay.
generally date. In my experience, tall guys date men her height, and
Do people
shorter
date by
guys-
height, though?
yes,
Do people select
shorter
each other
guys
by height?
date men Ginette's and my height.
Well, how have you
Really?
got on, Ginette? Because you've been tall your whole life, obviously.
I have.
Well, not
and
your whole
it's-
life, I'm sure you didn't
It's
start off tall.
frustrating, but at some point when you kind of grow into it's miserable when you're a teenager, but then
Yes.
when you grow into yourself, you just realize, fuck, it's their problem. It's not my problem.
I love being tall.
Yeah, I think it
I
must
love
be
being
pretty
tall.
cool to be really tall, isn't it?
Yeah, except I'm shrinking. Everyone shrinks as they get older.
My grandmother
do-
has shrunken. She's 102.
She's 102.
Wow.
She's 102.
what
102?
fabulous
Wow.
genes. That's wonderful.
I know, I'm going to live forever. It's terrifying.
102 is pretty impressive.
That's amazing.
Can you stay tall if you do yoga?
I think
Are
it
you still
probably
teaching
helps.
yoga, by the way?
I'm still practicing yoga. I don't teach
Okay.
anymore.
But you still do it?
I do.
I'm sure that would keep you taller, wouldn't it? Do you do something like that, Jenny? Don't you do something like yoga?
I used to,
And that's why you're shrinking, because you stopped doing
because I
it.
stopped doing
Right.
it. I should do
But
it more
bef-
often.
listen-
Everyone shrinks a little bit.
So,
You-
but Jeanette, before we go any further, we have to talk about this thing that you're doing, this...
Oh,
this-
I know. I'm here to talk
this
about
exhibit.
something really fabulous
Yeah.
for New Orleans.
Oh, Yes. good.
And Louisiana. We are currently, my husband is a fine visual artist. known mainly for his paintings, but for decades he's been working on photographs. And after Katrina, he started this project taking portraits of Louisiana people post-Katrina to show Europe and the rest of the world that we were not underwater and we were not defeated. And this started off as being 100 icons of New Orleans, and then you can't do that in this city. Everyone's like, oh, you have to include so-and-so, you have to include so-and-so. So it's now well over 500 people, and we have a Kickstarter that has been launched. It's Louisiana Cereal Kickstarter. And
The project is called Louisiana Cereal.
it is called
Like
Louisiana
breakfast
Cereal,
food.
like breakfast food,
Right.
because it's a gumbo of all different people. It's the local institutions, mothers, Cafe du Monde, Pat O'Brien's, right through to Brad Pitt and Make It Right, and different celebrities that have come to this city that national people, international people will recognize. But we're so lucky we have a publisher from London, in fact. We go right back full circle, who is really fascinated by Polaroid. They stopped producing it in 2008, and we stockpiled a bunch to complete this series. And so it's a Polaroid documentary time capsule post-Katrina, post the BP oil spill, post the Baton Rouge floods, that captures the resilience of New Orleans. So look out for that, because it's a really wonderful book that's going to be produced. You can only buy it online from louisianacereal.com and from the Kickstarter, but it's great.
That's a pretty good pitch, wouldn't you say?
I was
Excellent.
pitching.
Excellent
I was
pitch.
pitching, but I'm
Pretty
watching
good.
Alexandra strum her guitar and Miss Linsey with her beautiful skin, and we're all here together.
That's really interesting. Okay, so your husband's name is Blake Boyd,
Lake Boy.
in case anyone's wondering about that, and he's taken 500.
Over 500 Polaroid
Polaroids.
portraits
So the
of.
interesting thing about Polaroids is, I imagine, is that you only get one shot at it.
It's
It's not like
instant.
you're sitting for some,
No, it's really
photographer.
instant, and there's a universal white background, so it's all about the people that are involved. It's an incredible documentary. It's like an epic Ken Burns thing that's going on.
And so there's a Kickstarter at obviously Kickstarter.com.
Kickstarter.com.
So how much money do you need, and what are you going to do with it?
Well, the whole problem is that we set the goalpost low so that we could hopefully achieve it. It's $25,000, but that's just, the Polaroids are fabulous, but they deteriorate. And so,
Right.
We've put up all the money so far, but we're kind of tapped out now to stockpile the Polaroids, travel to places like we got Michael Brown in Denver, Garrett Morris in
Michael Brown, as in heck of a job.
Heck of a job, Brownie.
Okay.
Yeah, in
Oh, that's
Denver. And then so we went down to Grand Isle after the BP flood and got some displaced fishermen. So we've been traveling and, documenting these people after we went up to the floods last year just.
So how do you stop the Polaroids from
You have to archive
falling
them.
apart?
They have to be scanned professionally, and that's expensive. And then they're archived, and once they've got to that stage, anything can be done with them. They can be printed for exhibition, which we would hope and for the tricentennial next year, or they could be put together in a publication, which is one of the rewards on the Kickstarter, 100 Louisiana icons.
I bet you Linsey could help you out with this.
Oh,
Yeah,
Linsey could make
yeah.
everyone look perfect.
No, not makeup wise. I
But
mean,
just
with your
so
other
there's a tech
skills,
advantage,
your other
yes.
skills in raising money for businesses.
Definitely.
Don't you think these guys
I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs raise money, so
Well, then we should talk.
Yeah, don't you think the guys at Microsoft? I mean, $25,000. It doesn't.
Well, it's not much. And as I say,
nothing.
we had to lower our goal because it will take a lot more than that. But at the same time, anything helps. We just need to make sure that these things, Blake is actually primarily a painter, so he's not known for this, but he's a Warhol kind of follower, and he's been doing instant photography and photo booths and with Polaroids for 20, 30 years. So it's just a continuation of that practice, and it's really serious and kind of important for the state. I mean, this is an incredible time capsule of what's going on right now.
And if anyone's listening to this before this Friday, which is the 18th of August 2017,
They can come down.
there's a party
There's a party.
at Rocky and Carlo's in their Sicilian room, if you guys are interested in going to that. This Friday, the 18th of August. Yeah, 2017. If you've listened to this show past the 18th of August 2017, you've missed it. But
But there'll be other
you
parties.
can go to
keep it
Louisiana
up.
Cereal.
Keep a
Okay,
lookout.
good point.
Yeah.
But if you do happen to hear this before Friday night, go down to the Sicilian room, whatever that is. That sounds enticing in itself, actually. At Rocky and Carlo's, which is in Chalmette, I believe, isn't it?
Araby, it's down in
Araby.
St. Bernard, an underestimated part of New Orleans, which is going to be blossoming.
Okay. So this is going to be a book, and is it going to be an exhibit as well somewhere?
We will have some.
Well, you
some of the
own an art
portraits.
gallery, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, we've got our own art gallery,
Right.
and there is currently on Julia Street, 440 Julia Street, an exhibition of some of the portraits. But that's why we need the funding, so that we can produce and print and frame all of the portraits, 500 plus. Mother's Restaurant, Pat O'Brien's, Cafe Du Monde.
I think all these people would stump up a few bucks, wouldn't you, as well?
Yeah, it's just
They're
a
all
few
successful
bucks.
businesses. Pat O'Brien's, Mother's, Cafe Du Monde.
You would hope so.
Who owns Cafe Du Monde? They must have tons of money.
I don't
They
know.
don't even have
Selling
walls.
coffee and beignets. I don't know. I guess they make money.
It's full
they have
24 hours a day.
Yes.
And a
people
cup of
line up
coffee,
for it.
exactly, you can't even get in there. A cup of coffee must cost 2 cents to make that coffee.
Yeah. And yet they've got it going on.
I wouldn't mind one right now, though. A plate of beignets. Wouldn't you like an order of beignets right now?
Always.
More a cup of coffee.
Or coffee or
But these are the first places when I first came to New Orleans in the late 70s. These were the things that you had to do. Cafe Du Monde, Mother's, Pat
Right.
O'Brien's, and
They
they've
kind of
stayed
still
the same.
are, though.
Yeah.
Like, when
Hey.
I came here a few years ago, those were the same
They're still the
things
same
on the
things.
list.
Well, nothing much has changed in the last 100 years or so. Hey, Alexandra, where are you playing mostly that people could go hear you?
I'm at BJ's on Friday. Ryan Scully from the Morning 40 Federation and what's his band's name? Don't give me two tequilas.
2 tequilas will do it. But we can
it runs a Friday
find
night.
it at AlexandraScott.com.
You can once
if
I
all else
update
goes
it.
wrong. Okay.
It has there was a website problem.
And that's this weekend you're talking about?
That's this Friday.
This
And
Friday.
you
And
have
then,
a beautiful voice. It
Oh,
would
thank
be
you. That's
Hey,
wonderful.
do you want to
nice.
do another song while we're
Sure,
here?
I'd love
You
to.
have the guitar in your hands.
Yeah.
We've got time for one more.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I can do a
Is
short
this
song.
is
I'd
this
love
off
to.
the new album?
No, I would love to do my song called Virginia, which is from my now out of print record. You can still get it on alexandrascott.com. Spyglass, which is the first record I made in New Orleans. Here you go. Can I just go? Yeah. Okay. Hay in the fields blue with rain. I loved you from the first time that I saw you. Down in the valley, can't go home again. I loved you from the first time that I saw you. I loved you from the first time I saw you. Out on the backyard, we lay on the lawn. A blackbird sang and the day moved on. Mason jar of flowers I can hold on to. Will you remember me like I remember you? Old winding road goes through the hills. I loved you from the first time that I saw you. Knee deep in the water with the blue river's chill. I
loved you from the first time that I saw you. I loved you from the first time I saw you. When I get old, I'm gonna think about each and everything we ever talked about. When I get home, will you still be there? I've been looking for you everywhere. Shadow on the mountain, night coming in. I loved you from the first time that I saw you. Out on the front porch with the breeze on my skin. I loved you from the first time that I saw you. I loved you from the first time I saw you. I loved you from the first time that I saw you. I loved you from the first time I saw you.
Yeah, really nice.
Thanks, guys.
That's off an album called Spyglass.
Spyglass.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Wouldn't you like to be able to do that?
Oh,
Just
I wish I could.
Sing?
It's amazing.
I cannot hit a note.
I could teach you.
unfortunately.
Could you really
could.
learn to
Did
do
you
that? We could all learn to do that.
Did you mention earlier that you teach voice lessons?
I teach voice and guitar and piano and ukulele. You could learn to sing.
Wow.
I believe
I
it.
might have to take you up on that.
See, I had a teacher in college who said the vocal cords are a muscle like any other, and if you exercise them diligently and regularly, you can learn to sing. You cannot necessarily become Emmylou Harris or whoever your ideal of singerdom is, but everyone should believe that they can learn to sing, and I think that if more people sang, more people would be happier. I grew up with a family that sang together, and singing is
I've
joy.
tried. I've exercised those vocal cords, and they just get more and more ornery. They do not want to hit a note because they're kind of comfortable knowing. And I'm not tone deaf. I know I'm not hitting the note. It's really frustrating because it's so beautiful.
But couldn't you learn? That's a muscle, is what you're saying. You could learn where to put your larynx or whatever the hell that is in the right spot, I guess, if you really...
Guy Tem is a great teacher. Like a much better teacher than I am, to be perfectly honest. And
Who is that?
Guy Tem. I teach at his studio as well. He's
That's
who
a person here.
He's a person
Guy
who I go
Tem.
to
That's
for
beautiful.
lessons. And boyfriend takes lessons from him.
What does your boyfriend do? Is he just...
No, boyfriend, the
Boyfriend?
rap
Oh, our
cabaret
friend.
artist.
Our friend boyfriend.
Yes.
How is she doing?
I don't know.
Haven't seen her for ages.
I've only hung out with her at the Offbeat Awards, and it was a very exciting night for me. We ate cheese
She's
together.
great.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
We had a long conversation about cheese.
Okay, I thought your boyfriend took lessons. So,
No.
okay. What does your boyfriend do? Is he in the music
He's a
business?
poet, so
He's a
he's
poet.
fantastically rich.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a very well rewarded occupation.
It is.
Does
Poet
he write,
and singer.
Does he write lyrics for you? Or
No,
do you
I write
do you
my
write
own
together?
lyrics.
You don't write together?
We do write together.
That's pretty cool.
We have a game we play where we just get out a notebook and write alternate lines.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
So when's the big day? When are you getting married?
I don't know.
Oh, you haven't got a plan of that? You haven't got
No.
an engagement ring on, I see.
I hate jewelry.
Oh, really?
He was very.
Well, you're wearing jewelry, I see.
These
What
are the
is it?
only two rings I like. He was kind enough not to give me a ring because he knew I would hate it.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So are we all invited, do you think?
I think we.
Ginette can give you a copy of the book for a wedding present.
I don't want any
And
more
then
stuff. but
Lindsay
the-
has some
We might need. I
lavender
might need a
serum
clear
ready
face.
for you.
I planned one wedding and it was awful. So I'm trying very hard to get out of planning another.
Well, you could
But
just,
we'll see.
You could just elope and get married. You don't need to
Yeah,
have a
we
big
know
fancy
that's the
wedding.
reason there's no date, right?
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, so you don't need to do all that bullshit. Well, Alexandra Scott, thank you so much for being here. We've
Thanks for
tried
having
so
me.
many times to have you on this show. Do you realize that?
I am hard to get.
You're
Notoriously.
very, very hard
Ask
to
my
get.
boyfriend.
I will. If I knew his name, I would ask. Every time we tried to book you on the show, something terrible has happened to you. Do you even know that?
No.
Yes.
What's happened?
Maybe the Christian just made all these up. I don't know. Something happened. First of all, someone, I don't know what happened to you. The car broke down, or you got
That
the
did
flu,
happen
you got
one time.
laryngitis.
I did get pneumonia, and I was in the
Pneumonia.
hospital that
yes,
one time.
right.
Yeah,
and
that
I
was
would get
awful.
these texts from Christians saying, Alexandra Scott cancer, she has pneumonia. I'm like, oh, come on. You've got to be kidding.
I was
So
surprised he
thank
ever
God
booked
you're
me
healthy
again.
and you're here.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens when I walk outside.
Oh, well, it's
I
true,
might
but
get
it's
shot.
all over. Don't say that.
That would be an exciting ending.
Linsey
I know.
Lamba-
There was to
Linsey-
be. I mean, it would boost your ratings. You would get like
If you
5
got
listeners.
We could double it.
I know.
Our listenership to 5 if something
That
happened.
would
That
be
would
doubling.
be amazing.
That would be great, because right now we have 2.5, so that would be perfect.
That would be amazing.
Okay, well,
I think
do you want to
should
take
just
one for the team?
give Grayson a gun and get him to shoot me.
Those days are pretty much over here on
He's leaving LA anyway.
I know.
on Ferret
I
Street.
Would be his finale.
You
Ferret
could-
Street
Like, I'm
is
out.
so gentrified. It could use a good
Look,
shooting.
look what's across the street from
I
us, the
know.
European Wax Centre.
A European Wax Center?
It's our
Yes.
sponsor.
Is
That's
it for
right.
waxing?
It's for
Like,
waxing the European style.
Can you go get a good waxing?
Yes, I can get one free for you. I got a thing that says first wax free.
Really?
Yes, if you'd like to use it, I have it. You want it? First wax free.
Why
at
don't
the
we discuss that off
European,
mic?
European Wax Centre. I'd like to know what the European method of waxing is, actually. So if you'd like to go and do it,
I'll
you
go
can
investigate
report
it and report back.
Okay, you've got a deal.
I'll be your
You're
wax
a man
reporter.
On, you're a
much.
man
Okay.
on the street right now.
Yes,
Wax
thank
That
you.
would be great. Okay, Alexandra Scott, you're on.
Wax person on the
Yeah,
street.
all right.
This
And
is
thank
exciting.
you, Linsey Lamba. Thank you for being here as well.
Thank you for
And
having
we can
me.
find you at ariyaApothecary.com.
Oh, yeah,
Or just-
Starkapothecary.com.
Or just go to
Sorry.
Austin Hospital. Hey, Ginette Bone, thank you so much. And the name of the outfit is Louisiana Cereal.
Yes.
And if you want to give some money to the
Not
it's
give. It's not
Kickstarter.
give. You get a wonderful reward.
That's true, you do. You get the book, or you get the T-shirt,
Get
or
a
you get
book, T-shirt.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
postcards.
All right. Hey, thank you so much to Basics Swim and Gym, where you can get a full range of workout and fashion clothes, as well as bathing suits and cover-ups and everything you need to go and hang out by the
I
beach
need those.
and on the beach or at the pool. Do you? Well, that's right on Magazine Street.
I need
That's
to
where I
Next to
got the bra that I'm wearing.
Basics underneath.
Yes.
Wow, awesome.
Amazing.
It's full circle.
It's my only bra.
Wow, you only have one bra and you got it at Basics underneath.
Yes.
Wow.
What is the
What a great
coincidence?
endorsement. And thank you to Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. You can go to hdestroyer.com. Please take some Hangover Destroyer. You can go to hdestroyer.com and write happy hour on the coupon code and get 30% off of your first order of Hangover Destroyer.
How can it destroy a hangover with no caffeine?
I have no idea. Graham DePonte is the producer of our show, and Alison Moon and April Stolf are our associate producers. Christian Unruh is our music director, and Jean Valois is our music producer. Thomas Walsh is our technical director, and Asher Griffith and Grayson Jernigan are responsible for putting this show live on Facebook. Good luck to Grayson when he's back to LA. We'll see if he makes it on next week's show as well. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about an hour and drink alcohol, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com, where you can also find many other hours of Happy Hour that we've recorded previously that you might like to listen to, as well as the other shows we make here at INO Broadcasting, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace, and Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker. You can find other great Louisiana podcasts as well at itsacadiana.com and at itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on Facebook and Twitter and a bunch of other time-sucking social media. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Facebook page too. These photos were taken by Alison Moon. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you so much for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you can, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, who's on the road but back here next week, and everyone else around the table here at Wayfare and back at our office at INO Broadcasting. Thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. We'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour.
Bye, boys. Bye-bye.
Let's consider the secret life of the innermost nesting doll. Living most of her life in the dark, inside the other nesting dolls, she has plenty of time to think, if she could. Sadly, she has no brain. However, when an innermost nesting doll hears that Geico not only saves people money, but also has been providing great service for over 75 years, she thinks it's obvious you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. Pity the innermost nesting doll and her lot in life.